Pilots do it before they fly, and you should do it before you ride. I'm talking about the pre-ride inspection, aka the walk-around. Not to be confused with the reach-around, but that's a subject for another video. The walk-around is a quick inspection that you can do before you ride, where we walk around the bike and look for anything out of place, anything that is adjusted wrong, anything that could break, anything that could kill us or cause us to break our leg like an idiot before we ride. So let's get right into this. So today, for obvious reasons, I will not be walking. I will be scooting around to do my inspection. I like to start at the nose of the bike. So you can start at the front. That's the same way we do it with airplanes as well. And we're going to look at this bike. First thing is this front wheel. That's the first thing I hit. I'm checking the tire pressure. You can examine the pressure settings on the tire itself to see what recommended pressure to have it at. But for me, I can feel it that this is completely adequate for my ride. While I'm here, so important, this front axle, and I've seen this before where somebody's put together their bike, did a poor job with the front axle, put it in wrong, went off a curb, and the wheel came out, the forks hit the ground, they went over it and broke their nose. So this could save you from breaking your nose right here. I can lift up this wheel, number one, and check that the wheel's not gonna fall out by itself. While I'm here too, I can also spin the wheel. We're gonna listen for any brake disc rubbing. We're gonna look for the wheel wobbling. And again, this axle, so important. We're checking that the axle is not loose and that it is seated flushly in here where it should be. There are many types of axles, so please use the appropriate procedure for your axle, okay? While I'm here, I'm also looking at the front disc. There's no warping that I can see visually. The bolts here holding the disc on are tight. I can listen to the spokes. You can use a key to do this, something else on the spokes. There's nothing loose, no broken spokes, no dents in the rim. We're looking at the brake itself. So the brake pads, I can see that there is adequate brake pad in there. Very important, the mounts for this front brake, these are tight. I've had myself where I was downhill mountain biking and midway through, my whole rear brake was completely loose because I failed to adequately inspect it before my ride. There's no fraying in my brake line. This is a cable brake. If you have hydraulic brakes, you're gonna look for kinks as well. Any kinks, twists, any issues with this brake line. That's looking really good to me. Okay, we can examine the fork while we're here. We're looking for any kind of dead spots or unusual movement in this fork. And what you can also do with this front brake while you're here, hold the front brake and rock this bike back and forth. It will indicate if your headset is loose or out of spec. You'll hear like a knocking sound coming from the headset here. This is perfect, I don't have any issues. Moving on, we're gonna come around this bike, the handlebar area. So again, we can check the fork from up here, checking that the grips are tight. There's nothing loose here. The throttle is locked on. Everything that's mounted to your handlebars should be mounted there very securely. So nothing is loose. The brakes, there's no loose bolts. Again, no fraying. The display is on here tight. Grips, brakes, shifter. Now we're gonna look at the stem, okay? The bolts are both there. It's rare for this to come loose, but it can happen. Maybe somebody was dicking around with the bike, you don't know. That's looking very good to me. There's no cracks in the handlebars, no cracks in the headset. And again, while I'm here, I'm gonna be looking at the frame as well, looking for any damage that I may have missed. All right, moving on. We've got the seat, we've got the motor and the cranks. We wanna make sure this seat is adequately inserted. Most seats have printed on it a minimum insertion depth. If you don't know what it is, play it safe and go to at least 5 inches. That's about the width of my hand here. So I wanna bring it down that much with this seat. Oftentimes there's also an index here on the seat. You can see you don't want to surpass the index on where you have this seat adjusted. So we wanna make sure that seat's properly adjusted. I'm looking at the chain as well. I'm seeing if there's any damage, any bends, any kinks in that chain, and it's looking really good to me. On this trail here, or if you have an e-bike, you do wanna check the battery that is secure. One test you can do is bounce the bike. I'm not seeing any rattling from that battery. It's not coming out. The battery is locked in and secure. The kickstand, okay, that's tight, that's on there. And most importantly here, after we check the brakes is this rear axle. Same thing as the front. You don't want your wheel falling off while you ride at high speed, so that's tight. Okay, moving back here, I can check the cassette. If you do have gears on your bike, you can visually look through the cassette. If you do want to spin this wheel too, you can do that, spin it backwards, and see if there's any missing teeth on your cassette. That's not an issue that's gonna kill you or cause you to crash likely, but good to know. Looking at the shifter cable too, no frays, no kinks, looks great. The wheel, the tire look good from this side. The speed sensor has no clearance issues. It's good to me. This is a different style crank. It's a pinch bolt here, so it's just clamping on there to the axle. It looks good. Got no issues with the spider. Moving forward, we'll check out this side of the bike. This side of the front tire looks good to me. Okay, we already did inspect the axle, but still looks good. And that's about it on the pre-ride. You might want to go through some settings in the display, but that is more than adequate. Once you get this down, you can really do it in about 30 seconds. That's what I would take, 30 seconds to go through a walk-around bike, especially if it's a demo bike that other people have been riding. And this can really save your ass here. Those axles, so important. The brakes, all the control surfaces of the bike are the most important parts for you to keep an eye on. So I highly recommend this check. Thanks to FLX Bike, I can ride a bike again. See you later, nerds. So that is the pre-ride inspection, the walk around. You can do it a lot faster than I did. Let me know if you had any questions or if I missed something that you like to check before you ride in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next one.